it! I don't know if you can see Shiloh, but Shiloh and Ricky are here, so if you hear dogs barking throughout the show, don't be alarmed. They're being very annoying right now, so we're just going to wait a couple minutes. Yep, there it goes. Shiloh, please don't.
We'll wait a couple minutes until more people tune in. As you can see, we are the Buchanan Buzz.
We're very excited.
Yes.
2 whole viewers.
Yay!
Can you guys see Shiloh? Can they see Shiloh? Oh, I'm sure now they can.
Our producer, Maria, is behind the scenes filming us, so we can't see what everybody is saying, but she'll let us know if any of you have questions. Thanks for the thumbs up.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just give a little description of what we have going here. So about a year ago, Laura and I really wanted to do a Facebook Live, and we've tried to, kind of work through it for the past year and felt like we didn't want to just start a show and not have a purpose. So we really worked on our strategy and finally came to the decision that Buchanan Buzz will be born today. So essentially we're going to come to you twice a month and talk about timely PR fails, whether that's in our industry or another industry, something that's being talked about in the news. I think, people love to hear about other people's failures, to discuss them and chat about them.
When we did a poll, that was the overwhelming vote, was for crisis and PR analysis of various situations and scenarios that might not have gone as they anticipated. So that's what the overall theme of our show is.
So this week, particularly, we thought it would be, even though it's not specifically PR, we thought it'd be great to talk about Super Bowl ads. Obviously, we're fresh off the Super Bowl. Go Big Red, happy for him and his Super Bowl win. But we just thought we'd talk about what went well, what didn't go well. And with that in mind, we were really excited. We talked about all the Super Bowl commercials, but obviously there was another huge PR fail this week with the Iowa Caucuses. So we'd be remiss not to mention that in our first ever PR fail show.
Yes, did not think that we thought the Super Bowl was the timeliest PR advertising thing right now, but this caucus crisis, say that 10 times fast, is kind of taking over the last couple of days. Nothing like this has ever happened with the caucus before, and an election event that's so inherently chaotic, to throw in a new app and all of these technological features at the last minute kind of really screwed them up in the long run. And we don't want to talk about the politics involved with the caucus at all, just the communication issues that happened, because they're huge. And I want to take this time to give a special shout out to Maura Barrett, who's a reporter for NBC, and on the last 8 months she's been live on the ground in Iowa covering the caucus. So a lot of the information I've gotten from her, and it's kind of all I've been looking at lately because of her and all of this. It's just crazy right now. They created an app 2 months ago from scratch to report the results of the caucus faster, but the opposite has happened. And
we all woke up with no results.
No results, and we still don't, as of now, have the results almost 2 days later. So I think it's crazy that they first of all, they implemented this app not even using Silicon Valley coders who can create a coherent app. They kind of used people that had more of a campaign background, and you need to mesh those together to create something that will accurately convey results. And it's been wild.
It also creates like a PR fail in a sense of communication for all the potential candidates, because they were all kind of put into this weird situation where they were expecting to be able to announce, we won, or this person, they had these messages to convey after they either won or lost, and they couldn't use them. So they kind of had to turn around on their feet, and some people criticized the different ways that the candidates did that, but it was just like a domino effect, essentially. There's no results, then it affects how they're communicating, how the opposing party's communicating, and then how the entire, media is communicating this failure. So it definitely was, it started with something seemingly so small, an app, and created this, nationwide crisis.
And a lot of people are saying, too, why fix something that isn't broken? I think we've seen a lot in the past around elections. They want to, the campaigns want to implement all this new technology when we don't even have a full handle on it yet. And I think that was a lot of what happened here. we're still waiting to see the results, and like Katie said, it might not have it has a big of an impact on whoever gets the most delegates now.
So we'll see. Yeah. But we just, of course, had to just touch on that for a little bit. But obviously a more fun topic is the Super Bowl. Lauren and I both watched the Super Bowl on Sunday and have our own opinions about ads that we liked, ads that we didn't like. I don't know if you want to talk about your favorite ad?
Oh, yeah. So definitely I think Google is one that we are getting an overwhelming response about. Shout out to Jane Ross, former intern, who told us that was her favorite in our little poll that we put up on Instagram. But I think this one was so powerful because I knew that Google had a virtual assistant feature, but I didn't realize how much it could impact someone's life and what it could do for someone. And just if you didn't see the ad, just to summarize, this was an old man lost his wife, and he was using the virtual assistant to remind himself of all of the memories he shared with his wife, and the assistant kept all of the memories so he could go back and say, pull up photos from our anniversary, and Google would immediately pull those up. Or he would say, remind me that Loretta loves roses, and all of those memories he could pull up and see exactly what he loved so much about Loretta. And I just think this is a great inspirational ad. We always see them, and this was one that really tugged at the heartstrings.
I think what's interesting about it also is they're talking about a really old relationship, which necessarily didn't use a ton of the new technologies that we have today, but it's showcasing an older relationship and an older generation using the new technologies that we have to, maintain a connection with their loved ones. And I think it's kind of unique because, my grandparents, as I've grown up, they've gotten used to, using voice to text or texting us, taking pictures, and it's just an interesting way to show that, it's not just the young generations that can use these technologies, it spans across all generations.
And I can't remember if Google has had an ad before, or definitely not a memorable one like this
not
before.
One like this.
I usually expect it from Microsoft, which also had a really awesome ad with Katie Sowers.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Well, I love women in sports, so I think it was really awesome that they were highlighting the first female coach in, NFL history and really giving her a spotlight and letting her talk about how she doesn't want to just be the first woman to do it. She wants to open the door for more women to be a part of it. So I think that's a great message to be sharing too. My favorite ad was probably not as sentimental as the Google ad. I really like the Smart Park ad. I love John Krasinski and
Chris Evans.
And Chris Evans. So those are obviously two great people to have in an ad, but I just thought it was great that they were taking people that are from that area. They're highlighting a new feature on a product, which is something that we've talked about. A lot of Super Bowl commercials tend to just want to flaunt a brand, and I felt like a lot of the commercials this year were actually promoting a new product, which I think is way more beneficial.
Yeah, for sure.
But Smart Park was funny because it's a new product. It's Boston accent. Lauren went to college in Boston, so she's very familiar.
I also liked the Big Poppy cameo at the end. That was an added bonus at the end there.
So I liked that one, but that's just because it was memorable. There was obviously a lot of celebrity appearances, and it had some humor to it.
And that was a Hyundai Sonata.
Yes, Hyundai Sonata.
For their new smart parking backing up into the Space 48 feature.
Brandel Krista wants to talk about how lame Baby Nut is. Do you have anything to say about that?
I was going to say, we got to cover Baby Nut here.
Okay, so
you all know Katie.
If you're not familiar with my background in PR, I drove the Nutmobile for Planters Peanuts when I graduated from college, so I did their PR for a year. I don't know if anyone saw, leading up to the Super Bowl, Mr. Peanut accidentally tweeted out and leaked a Super Bowl commercial that showed him driving the Nutmobile, essentially driving off the road and sacrificing himself and dying in a fiery crash. So when that happened, I love Planters and I love Mr. Peanut, but I didn't love the execution of that. I thought it was kind of strange to do a fake accidental tweet. It made it very confusing and muddled. Yeah. I felt like there were too many tactics being put in place.
There was a lot of anticipation going into the Super Bowl too. Everybody was like, Mr. Peanut died, how are they going to
what are they going to do? And so then obviously fortunately, Kobe Bryant and his daughter and 7 other people died in a helicopter crash a couple days after they announced Mr. Peanut died in a Nutmobile crash. So that obviously threw a wrench in what they were going to do, because they need to be sensitive to those families that are involved. It's obviously a horrible tragedy. But from a PR perspective, you know, the agency that planned that probably had been doing that for 6 months or more. So it's a huge $1 million decision to be making about how you're going to, you know, transition your campaign or make decisions or choices that might be different. So I'm not sure exactly how much they adjusted. I know that they stopped all of their paid advertising on social throughout the rest of the week leading up to the Super Bowl, but then obviously the Super Bowl commercial came, and it was Mr. Peanut's funeral, and there was...
It came so fast.
It was so fast. I almost missed it too, because I was waiting.
15-second spot, I think.
Yeah, it was very short, and the Wienermobile got a little shout out, so did the Nutmobile, and then the Kool-Aid Man was there, Mr. Clean was there, so a lot of people mourning Mr. Peanut, and Mr. Kool-Aid Man's tears brought Mr. Peanut back to life, which I did think was going to happen. I did think he was going to come back to life somehow.
I even noticed that.
I did. Oh, yeah.
I didn't notice his
tears.
It was so fast.
He was crying, and the tears dropped onto the grave, and that's what made him grow back to life.
That's kind of nice.
So, Baby Nut was born.
He was very cute,
He's very cute. Here's the thing. If as much as you might hate it, because it's like...
You know Baby Yoda.
It's Baby Yoda. They're feeding into the Baby Yoda madness. I get it. But... I mean, he's really cute. I can't say he's not cute. Like, I really want a Baby Nut hat. But overall, I think the main issue that people are having with the campaign was that I just think there were too many tactics and too many things going on. You know, there's a fake tweet, then there's a leaked commercial, then, you know, obviously they couldn't anticipate the tragedy, but then there's talk about it all leading up because of the tragedy, and then it's this really fast commercial with this kind of gimmicky ending where they're playing into the whole baby fad. And then on a completely other side, hashtag Baby Nut probably isn't the most PG hashtag to be using.
They had to know that was what was going to come from that. I saw it and immediately was like, Baby Nut.
Yeah, so wasn't probably the greatest hashtag to be using. And then there's a whole other element of apparently the agency that was doing this made a bunch of meme accounts on their own, anticipating that they were going to make Baby Nut into a meme. But these accounts were made, you know, in September, January, ahead of when the public knew that Baby Nut existed. So they were violating Twitter's rules that you can't promote yourself. And all of those accounts have now been shut down because they were basically trying to amplify their own message. So that brings a whole nother element into it, because people don't like when you try and force a meme. Memes are, I mean, you never know what's going to turn into a meme. So I think overall...
Success or fail. Pass or fail.
I hate to do it, but I feel like it's a fail.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because I think that overall the message is just too muddled. I think in 3 months no one's going to remember that it was a little bit messy, and people talk about Baby Nut, and the Baby Nut memes will live on forever. So probably in a year they'll look back and say it was successful because the amount of mentions they got and stories that were written about Mr. Peanut and the engagements, it will all be worth it. But from a magnifying glass sense, like right at this moment we're really analyzing like the way that it was executed, I think it wasn't executed the right way.
Yeah.
So sorry, Planters and Mr. Peanut, I love you still.
John wants to see if you guys saw the Bill Murray Groundhog Day.
That was just going to. That was on my list to talk about next. That was probably my favorite. That one, Google and Amazon were my 3 favorites. But I mean, the timing couldn't be better for this ad on Groundhog Day. Bill Murray. Who doesn't love Bill Murray?
Who doesn't love the movie
Groundhog Day? I mean, Chevy should have gotten on it faster than Jeep, but Jeep did an awesome job with this ad.
I love Jeeps also.
This pulling scenes from the movie. It was. Yeah,
having the cameo from the one character in the movie. I think it was really well executed. I think Bill Murray is such like a dry, sarcastic kind of humor too that, you know, I think a lot of these ads can come across as really hokey and they're trying too hard, but I think that Bill Murray, you know, he's very sarcastic, funny. It feels more natural, the sense of humor that he's coming across with. So we were big fans of that because I think it, you know, it connects with something in your past, a movie that you love, you know, a celebrity, and then people love, I mean, Jeep people are huge proponents of that brand. My uncle has a Jeep. I grew up loving Jeep, and he would drive his car, and they have like a secret Jeep wave to each other if you pass someone in a Jeep. So I always thought that was really cool.
And also the car was just so central to the plot of Groundhog Day because he kept, he gets into the penultimate crash at the end, but he uses that as a literal vehicle to try to escape the situation he's in. So Jeep, good job Jeep on that one.
Very creative.
Yeah.
But I guess then on the other hand, we are a PR fails show, so we talked about, Planters and Mr. Peanut, but in terms of ads that I thought just fell flat completely, I really didn't like the Audi ad.
Yeah.
I really like, I can't even think of Maisie Williams. I think I love her as an actor, but it just made no sense to me. It was just, why is she singing Let It Go? Why is she driving an Audi? Because, we associate her right now with Game of Thrones. So, an Audi seems so
Katie and I worked together for the Super Bowl, but I think I immediately texted her and was like, Let It Go, Audi, and Maisie Williams. What am I missing here?
Yeah.
I mean, great song a few years ago when it came out. Audi, obviously, is a huge brand.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
don't know what it had to do with
Frozen 2
sustainability.
just came out.
Yeah.
Do something with the Frozen 2. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just, there was no cohesion there. And I think if you're not going to have I think the fail here is if you're not going to have something that's immediately recognizable to people, then I'm sure you can hear Rick.
My dog Ricky hears a person outside and must bark.
I think if you're not going to have something that is immediately recognizable, like hi Rick, you're gonna just fall flat. It just didn't. It didn't come together, and I think that the message got lost.
They might have been relying on the star power here, but even then, it wasn't a strong ad to me. Speaking of relying on star power, that completely failed. The avocados from Mexico ad.
Oh yeah,
with Molly Ringwald.
I couldn't even tell you what was being talked about.
Very random. It was a minute space.
45
seconds
biggest
too long.
companies.
It was entirely too long. The infomercial setup was cutesy at first, and then it just lost me. I wasn't interested anymore. Again, it was a lot of random elements, I think. And avocado, there's a lot I feel like they could do with that.
I think that companies, especially since the puppy monkey baby commercial a couple of years ago, where literally it was just what's going on, but they had so many people. It was I think it was an energy drink, but they had so many people talking about it. I think some companies are trying to feed into that randomness and people will talk about it. But Molly Ring, I'm not gonna. I don't know. It just didn't make sense to me. Which another one that I thought didn't really make sense was the Jason Momoa commercial. I couldn't tell you the company that...
It was Rocket Mortgage?
Yeah, I couldn't have told you what it was for because I was literally so disgusted.
So mesmerized by...
he's ripping off he was so scrawny and there's his receding hairline, and I was just appalled that I couldn't focus on anything that was happening.
People loved it, people hated it. I'm curious what your thoughts all of your thoughts
were
if
anyone has thoughts on the Jason Momoa
Mortgage ad.
Yeah, Rocket Mortgage? Why is Jason Momoa repping Rocket? It just doesn't...
Because he feels like he can be in his own skin at home,
I think
is the message. But
I think that
I too was so distracted by him that I had to go back and watch the ad again to see which company put it out there.
I'm just going to say another one with a celebrity. Obviously, a lot of these commercials have celebrities, but most people who know me know that I hate Tom Brady. But obviously, his future is up in the air right now. People are really curious to hear whether he was going to retire, whether he's going to go to another team. Anyone who thinks he's going to the Raiders, you're insane. But anyway, I think that at first, when you were watching that commercial, it came across pretty strong. It's dramatic. I read so many tweets of people being rooms were stopped talking as soon as he's on there.
In black and white Instagram of him walking into a stadium, everybody, and then you saw that he purchased property in Vegas, and immediately the rumor mill is
gonna go. But I think whole rooms were stopping talking when it came on the screen, and I think in that sense it succeeded, but then after the fact, I was reading that obviously it's promoting Hulu streaming live sports, and Hulu's live stream of the Super Bowl failed minutes before that ad was went live. So that's a huge fail in a sense that the product that you're promoting with this massive commercial, anyone who's watching it on that stream didn't even get to see it, And, you know, after the fact, people are obviously going to complain about it and kind of roast you a little bit. So I think that was an interesting, like, it wasn't necessarily a fail, wasn't a success, but so I thought that one was really interesting.
Yeah, and then a couple of other good ones that we didn't talk about yet. The NFL and Doritos.
Yes. So NFL, I love the NFL one because first of all, that
it was wild. I've never seen it.
It's wild.
Like
It was there were so many different cameos from different stars, which I thought was really cool. I love the live element where they actually came out onto the field and
so seamlessly.
From
the commercial to the.
I was like, oh my god, what's happening
here? Yeah.
And then the third thing, the main actor that was used, he was offered like a football scholarship at 10 years old. He's going to be like potentially a huge football star. Yeah. So I thought that was really interesting too, that they were using someone that might be the future of the NFL. So I think that kind of had all the key elements. It was celebrating NFL 100. It was showing the future generations, and then highlighting the people that are of both the past and present in different teams. I think anything that spans across generations, which I guess is pretty cliche of me to say, is gonna have success because you love seeing your old favorite football player and your current favorite football player in the future, and it gives you hope and inspiration, and I think it was a great way to start the game.
And shout out to Taylor Gray, another former intern, for submitting that as her favorite ad. That was a great one. And then also Doritos is one that we're hearing a lot about with Lil Nas X and Sam Elliott. Such a good combo.
It's Maria's favorite.
It's such a good combo. I feel like not a lot of people our age know that Sam Elliott used to be in all of the Western movies, so that was a brilliant matchup for a dance-off. And it's Cool Ranch Doritos, which it was in a ranch setting, so it all came together.
And Lil Nas X was arguably like the biggest artist of the year with Old Town Road. I mean, it won a Grammy. It was the most streamed song, I think. I was listening to a podcast recently. I think it's like one of the most streamed songs of the decade, and it came in like the last couple months of the decade. So I think he's a super recognizable figure to like some of the younger generation, even like younger than us. So I think.
And Billy Ray Cyrus.
Oh, Billy Ray Cyrus again. I think that was like the kind of like weird humor that was right. Like it wasn't too over the top. It
made sense.
It made sense.
The product, the people in
it. Why is Molly Ringwald repping avocados?
Using a random celebrity, going back to the Wicked Smart one, using actual Massachusetts natives in the commercial. It makes sense. You're not just using a celebrity to use a celebrity.
Yeah, so I think that's... Oh, I did like... I don't really have a lot to say about it, but I did really like the Cheetos one. I don't really like Cheetos, but that was one that was repping new product, Cheetos Popcorn, and I just thought it was funny. They can't touch this. Like, he just can't touch anything. He can't help his friends move. MC Hammer's everywhere. That one was also one of the ones that's probably, like, pushing the boundaries of weird, but at least MC Hammer is in it because he sings "Can't Touch This." Again, we just have to you just have to have some sort of loose thread to connect it together. When it's Molly Ringwald and there's no explanation as to why she is repping the avocado industry, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. So,
and overall, we had a couple of general thoughts about the ads. For one, as we mentioned before, all of the new product and feature ads made a lot of sense, especially like Coke, Pop-Tarts, Cheetos.
Coke Energy? I want to try that. I mean, really
before,
like energy drinks.
Like Pepsi had a spot which was totally forgettable in the Super Bowl. I think because it was their spoof on Paint It Black, and it got lost in the rest of them because all they were doing was singing a song and promoting Pepsi over Coke, versus Coke, who unveiled a new product that they can directly tie those sales back into the ad.
I think, though, we both agreed that in terms of previous years, I thought this year was pretty forgettable. I didn't think that there's one commercial, like, usually there's one commercial that everyone's talking about. And I guess in a sense you could say maybe the Google one, but Doritos, like the Puppy Monkey Baby, like the fact that I still remember that.
The GoDaddy.
Yeah, the GoDaddy commercials. Like there's always one, and I felt like this year really didn't have that. I felt like I was just not super impressed.
Yeah, there were some funny ones, there were some inspirational ones, but overall I think, I would say it was a solid B rating.
Probably a B, maybe a C.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting though because this Super Bowl was much more interesting than the last Super Bowl, and the last Super Bowl I think had some better commercials.
Yes.
So, and maybe it's just a trade-off. You get a better game, you don't get as good commercials. But do we have any other?
There's one more, I guess, to wrap up. Do you guys want to talk about Dashlane? The Dashlane commercial?
Dashlane.
It's the password protection app. I don't personally really remember it.
I actually talked to my mom about
She's
this.
The one that
Okay.
I don't remember that one.
So I actually thought I don't remember watching it, but she was telling me about it, and she said it was really creative, and I do think that this one, I think I just probably missed it, but if I had seen it, it's really relevant. It literally was talking about getting stuck in password hell, and it's like this guy, and he's in hell, and he's trying to get the password to like get into heaven or something apparently, and he can't remember his password, and he keeps telling him he's doing it wrong, and he eventually runs out of tries. And he's stuck in password hell.
This one.
Yeah, no, my mom was telling me that.
That's a very relatable one.
So I was like, that's super relatable. I think I probably just missed it. But obviously that's really funny because it's something that we all deal with every day. I think something like that where it's like a general pain point for most people is something that, is going to resonate with a lot of people. So shout out Mom for pointing that one out. But I didn't personally see it, but yes, I did hear about it, and it did sound very funny. Yeah. But so I think we're gonna wrap it up for today.
Yeah, we could go on for hours.
Yeah.
About the Super Bowl, there's so many other ads. I'm like, wait, Amazon, I loved.
Ellen DeGeneres. I mean, I like most things she's in. But I think we're gonna wrap it up. Thank you all, anyone who joined in today. We're open to hearing any thoughts, criticisms, ideas you have as we move forward. You know, this is a work in progress. It's meant to be fun and loose, and we're open to hearing what anyone has to say. But we have decided that we're going to end each episode with a story from producer Maria. She is a commuter. Our office is out in Bryn Mawr, and she commutes
and an assistant account executive here.
I was starting explaining
She's
why.
a commuter. No,
I'm just a producer.
She commutes from Philly on SEPTA every single day. And earlier this week, she came in and was exasperated by her ride on SEPTA, and she started talking about all these stories she has, and I was like, I just feel like you should end every one of our episodes with just like a crazy SEPTA story that you experienced. So Maria's about to join. She is an assistant account executive, and we love her very much. So she's gonna hop on and close you all out with a silly SEPTA story.
Yeah. Leave a comment with your favorite or least favorite Super Bowl ad, and let us know if there's a particular PR fail that you want us to cover. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, well, Philly people probably know SEPTA very well, but for those of you who are listening in from not Philly, SEPTA is probably the most unreliable source of transportation, public transportation in the United States. I'm half kidding. I think I'll tell the story from this week. I had one on Monday. Let's see, I take a class every Monday night, and so not only do I take SEPTA to work in the mornings and on my way back home from work, but I take it to this class on Monday nights, and I was coming home from the class. It was very late at night. It was like 9 or 10 p.m., and this homeless man is pacing around, and I'm very respectful, very mindful. I do what I can when I have the means, but he was just being very confrontational on this night, and he called me a spoiled brat, and then he proceeded to hang his feet off of the ledge of the platform and made everybody nervous, and the train started to come, and he was yelling at everybody, and then he got yelled at in return.
The dogs are wrestling.
He got yelled at in return from the SEPTA man who was controlling the tickets. And so just be mindful of yourself when you're traveling with public transportation. And that concludes this show.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Sorry that Rick Lowe was wrestling there.